Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, fellow modelers and styling fanatics. It's Terry here from Smooth's Workshop, and a really quick product review on an item I've been using for a couple of years now, and I just thought I would do a little review. I've always been meaning to do an up-to-date one. When you're sanding back the nubs off your models, I found a really good range of sanders. I've been using them for 2 years now. They're made by Ultimate Modelling Products, run by Paul Bretland and Lee Harholt. I'm just trying to remember now. You might know them from ISM fame or International Scale Modeler as well. They run a forum. Get yourself across the forum as well. Lots of good tips and everything on there. They do a lot of group builds and stuff, so get yourself involved with them. But today we're going to be concentrating on the Ultimate Modelling Products Sanders range. Yeah, been using them for 2 years now and fantastic. But I've got myself some new thinny sticks in as well, and I'm really liking them. So, a little bit about sanders for people that are not in the know. Sanders are rated in grit sizes, with the lower number being the coarsest one or the roughest. Okay, and the highest number being the smoothest. And when you're sanding, you'll start off with a coarse one, and then you'll use a less coarse one with a higher number to get rid of the marks that one's left, and then you'll go in with one with an even higher grit to get rid of those marks, and then eventually you'll polish it out with a polishing stick and a buffer. So when I'm referring to the grits on these, if I say something is 180, it's 180 grits per square inch. And if I say something is 800, then there's more grits, so smaller and finer, 800 grits per square inch. And that's how the sanders work. They do a big range of sanders. Now, they do these big ones. Now, obviously, I've used this one. I do a lot of motorcycles, so I tend to use the smaller thinny sticks and the buffer packs. But they do these larger sanders as well. Now this one is the white one is a 180 grit, and you'll see it is. Let's get it into focus. It has a bit of give on it because it's squishy foam with a hard plastic in the middle. Both sides of this are 180 grit, so that would be for taking off the worst of the nub. Yeah, and because it conforms a little bit, you can use it on curved surfaces, but this is more a tool for taking a big bit of nub off. The next one along, now I've used this one, that's 180 on both sides, which is your coarse grit, your starting grit. This one has 400 on one side. Okay, so 400 is almost double the amount of grits that's in that 180. So it's twice as smooth. Okay, so then you would go in with this one. And on the flip side of this one is an 800 grit, which is almost like wet and dry. Now you can wet these, especially with the wet and dry ones, but you can actually wet them and rinse them off to clean them, just with a little bit of tepid water and a couple of drops of washing up liquid. But what I generally do is I'll have if I'm sanding away and I get all the styrene dust on there, I'll just just imagine this is my leg or my apron or whatever, and it'll clean it off. So you just wipe them off. So yeah, this one has where was a 400 and 800 grit on the other side. So gradually stepping down to really smooth. Yeah. So these are quite, again, foamy, so there's a bit of deformation in these, and they're shaped so you can get into recesses and that. But that's one of the larger sanders. Don't tend to use them quite as much. And then this is my favourite type of sanders. Now these are 220 grit, so slightly finer than the a bit finer, 220. Now, good thing about this one is if you've got a big, large curved surface, it really shapes around the part. And the grit on this is almost like sprayed on rather than a sandpaper. So you can get quite a bit of curve. So if you're doing a big curved area absolutely fantastic for doing your big curved area. As I say, this is a used one. I've used it quite a lot. Then they go into their thinny sponges. Now, the ones that I tend to use are these ones, which are 220 on both sides, and it's a smaller version of that. Okay, and it's 220 on both sides, and again, it's really soft foam. I use it a lot in the motorbikes, you know, for like exhausts and things like that. So where you can't get the thick end into, you've got a thin end as well. Now, the only thing, obviously, these are glued onto the plastic strip that gives it rigidity in the middle. If you start getting a wee bit of delamination at the end, or you're only using a tiny wee tip at the end, you can just simply cut the end off and you've got a fresh bit. Yeah, so I use a lot of those. Very flexible. And that's the Thinnet sponge. Okay. Now, I've had thinner sticks for a while, but they've added new ones to the range. So these are a lot firmer. There is still give in them, but they're a lot firmer. So you're less likely. This one is I think it's a 240 grit. This one. You're less likely if you're going up the edge of a subject, as you would with a foamy one, to round off the edges, because you can get a nice flat draw in it. Again, a wide end and a narrow end. There is some give in them, but they're a lot firmer and less of a foam in it. Okay, now I really, really like these. So I just ordered myself in some new ones. So this is the Thinny Stick multi 10 pack. So you get two 180, two 240, two 400, two 800, and two 1200. Now the newer ones are colour coded. So let's just pull these out. So you get a nice wee pack here with all your sanders in. So I'm going to put them from coarsest to finest. So white one's your coarsest, that's always your 180. Yep. And then you've got your 240 next to it. Okay. Now I'm just feeling these because these are new to me. Now the new ones are colour coded, so I'll get corrected soon enough in the comments if I get it wrong. But the yellow one, okay, is 400 grit on both sides, and then the plastic in the middle is yellow and colour coded. Okay, so that's that one. Just put that next to there. Okay, and they've kind of fell out in the pack, and I'm just feeling these to get the roughness right. That's coarser than that one. So the ones with the orange in the middle, okay, are your... I'm just feeling them. Just feeling them. I might have this wrong. It feels a bit coarser than that one. I might have the colours wrong, but then you get two. I think the orange ones are 800 grit, which is a lot finer still. And then you get two of the 1200 grit, which is really, really fine. That's like wet and dry. Yeah. So that's the range of the Thinny Sticks. So the 180 is the coarsest one, so you go in with that one first. Then you would go in with your 240 grit to take the marks out of the one before. Then you go in with your 400 grit to take the marks out of the one before. Then you go in with your 800, and then for really, really fine, 1200. So that's going to get the plastic in the nub really, really smooth. But you still might get some very, very fine scratch marks with that. So we go into what they call a buffer. Now, you might recognise something like this that your missus might use. It's a bit like the ones you use for your nails. Now, the green side, okay, is about 3000 grit if I remember rightly. So it's a really high number, so it's very, very fine. You can actually use this for polishing canopies and clear parts, because I've done it. You might want to take say you've got a cockpit on an aircraft and you've got a seam line down the middle. You might start off with maybe let me see, what's that? Is that about 400? 400, got your 800, got your 1200 to get the seam line off, and then you'll go in with this at 3000, right? And you will smooth it all off. And then on the other side is a buffer. And that polishes it up to a really, really, really high shine. And when it starts squeaking, you kind of know it's done. Use loads of these. Now, the good thing about these, because I do motorbikes, and yeah, especially these, when they start getting a bit worn, I never throw them away. There's always a wee nook and cranny that I need to get into with one of these. And obviously it's a fixed shape. I never throw anything out, so I cut them into, this is obviously an old one, I cut them into little strips so I can get into wee places. So I make my own little narrow ones, or my own thinny sticks out of these, because it's just I think it's like a soft styrene or something like that up the middle of them, and you can cut them into shape and everything like that. But I absolutely love these. Generally, when I'm doing a motorbike, I'll cut the part from the sprue, and I think it's round about the what am I thinking of? Yeah, it was round about the 400 grit. I'll go in and take the worst of the nub off. Yeah. If it's a curved surface, like an exhaust, I'll then go in with my foam 220 thinny stick. I tend not to jump up the grades when I'm on a curved surface. I go for that onto that. But yeah, certainly for motorbikes and getting into little nooks and crannies, as you can see, this one's a colour-coded one, so it's the third one along, which is 400 grit. Yeah. So there's a bit of pliability in it, but they're really thin. They've got a little bit of foam in there for a little bit of give. I'm finding these really, really handy and useful. So this is just a quick review. I've been using these for 2 years now. As I say, because I do a lot of motorbikes, I tend to use the thinny sponges a lot and the buffer stick, but I'm finding I'm using these more and more. I've got a Revel Peterbilt truck that I'm doing at the moment, and nothing fits. So I'm finding I'm using quite a lot of the coarser grades and working my way through the grades to sand my model down. So yeah, they have their own online store, which hopefully you can make out here. It's www.umpretail.com. Okay. And you go on there. They do other stuff as well. I know this is for sanders and stuff, but they do quite a lot of modelling products, specialist files and kits and stuff like that. I also get my airbrush cleaner. Sorry if this is strobing. I get my airbrush cleaner and my airbrush thinner from them as well. Now, although I use Tamiya X20A with Tamiya paints, it's formulated just for Tamiya. Their airbrush thinner works with most major brands of acrylics, and their airbrush cleaner for cleaning out acrylics is brilliant. I've had that for 6 months, and I've only used half of it. You don't need to use a lot of this stuff, guys, really. So yeah, they also do that. They're in 270ml bottles, along with other stuff. I'm just going to throw this in here because I actually really, really like this. The deal with a company called Retro Kits. I know this is a sort of review of these, but they do these little minion kits. I've got a couple of them and they're absolutely fantastic. So I've got a Spock one, Long Living Banana. It's a little resin kit, just a little bit of fun. But less than a tenner. I can't mind the last time I checked the price. And I've got another one, it's like Dracula, Count Banana. Absolutely fantastic from Retro Kit. So they do stuff like that as well. So yeah, you can get these sanders from any reputable online retailer. You guys all know who the online retailers are. But if you go direct to them, obviously you're cutting out a middleman. And Paul and Lee get a wee bit more of the funds. And you might also get a personal note from Paul's wife Hannah and his son James, and maybe even a nice wee bag of sweeties into the bargain. So yeah, that's my order that's came in today. I'm really chuffed. As I say, I've been using these for 2 years now, and I haven't found anything that matches up to what I get for these. And as I say, I tend to use mostly the products in front of me, but they do have the bigger ones as well. You can get a big bumper pack, check their website for their latest prices. But yeah, if you're needing sanders, they also do their own range of primers as well. I might as well just pop that in at the end. If you've heard of Stynylres, right, you'll have heard of Ultimate Primer. It's the same stuff. They do a range of colours in the Ultimate Primer, which is basically Stynylres. So it's a top-notch primer, so you can also get that from them as well. So although this is a review about the sanders, they do a range of products for modelling, specialist tools, nice files, all that sort of thing. Get yourself along the site and have a little look. I hope I've covered everything. Any questions at all? As usual, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Try and keep them constructive if you can. And until the next time, hope you're enjoying your hobby. It's Terry from Smooth's Workshop, and happy modelling. Bye.